day, friends. Flavid here. Right now we're going to be watching 4th game from the recently played PTS 2.8 grudge matches between Prophecy of the 5 and Tomb of Freedon Nadd. This 4th game is between MVPs, a well-known Republic guild on Tomb of Freedon Nadd, and Milfs, Mullets and Monster Trucks, the guild that's definitely gonna be gaining some supporters after these games. They're showing some decent performance, something that I really did not expect. You know, people have been saying, come on, TOFN will just crush these guys, but they've been holding really steady and showing great performance, but it remains to be seen, you know. MVPs have already seen, you know, they've already played one game and have already seen what Milfs, Mullets and Monster Trucks can offer, so perhaps they already have a strategy up their sleeve, or maybe even both sleeves, to counter whatever POT5 team can throw at them. But let's not delay this any longer and just jump into the game and watch what's gonna happen. An interesting thing to point out is that this match between MVPs and Milfs, Mullets and Monster Trucks is taking place in the same arena as the first one. This is Corellian Square, so MVPs are kind of getting that chance to come back from their crushing defeat in Game 1. I'm sure they've figured something out already. Here in this corner we've got MT. They're using the very same setup. They've used all 3 previous games, of course, Madness Sorcerer, Carnage Marauder, Hybrid Assassin in DPS gear, serving the role of a tank, and of course Operative Healer. In the other corner we've got MVPs who are using an interesting setting of their own. Of course, they've got this hybrid power tech serving the role of a tank, of course, using full tank gear, though unlike MT, but also being of a hybrid spec between tactics and shield, because tactics has proven to provide a better survivability in these small team setups, so they're using that. And of course, also quite remarkable, they're using Commando Healer, which of course might be shunned and frowned upon by a lot of players, but MVPs have made it work. But of course they play a lot of games together and they just know what to do to make it work. Pretty much 7 seconds before the game starts, we'll see what these teams are gonna do this game, whether or not MVPs have come up with some kind of strategy to come back from that defeat in Game 1 between Milfs, Mullets and Monster Trucks. We can see from that screen in the upper left that MT actually using Predation to quickly engage, and that is, you know, understandable because their team comp, it doesn't allow for a lot of survivability, so they have to get that momentum, they have to jump on someone, they have to scare them on the defensive. Look at that, Tyron Mofo already controlling the healer of MVPs to prevent them from healing someone who is being focused right now, that is Igor, taking a lot of damage, and I feel like that healer from MVP's Commando, Nihilus, had to break already. At the same time though, look at that quick switch to break, and you know what, it's interesting that right now Milfs, Mullets and Monster Trucks are not actually tunneling the healer as the first game. Look at that, both DPS are dropping in HP, but at the same time Cubro actually is doing a great job at throwing guard when it's needed, so these guys are not really being bursted all that quickly. And at the same time, but oh my god, look at that, actually Igor went down already, and I'm surprised, was it too much DPS for MVPs? I felt like Nihilus was actually feeling himself quite leisurely after a couple of CCs. Who was white barred, he could have, you know, done something to keep Igor alive, but it feels like this damage Milfs, Mullets and Monster Trucks just have is overwhelming for MVPs, and so far it's looking pretty one-sided, to be honest. But let's hold our horses, although I don't really have too many horses over here, but let's just hold them for now, our imaginary horses, and see what happens in round 2. I still feel that MVPs have a chance to come back. They just need to put some pressure, remove some damage they're taking, because so far Milfs, Mullets and Monster Trucks have been on the offensive, just not letting MVPs have a breathe at all. They're just been pressuring and pressuring and pressuring, and look at that, they've already engaged again, but this time it looks like MVPs have decided to put pressure on the healer straight away. But look at that, almost dies, had to break, had to stealth, no defensive cooldowns. This means that next time the guard is removed, this healer will be extremely vulnerable, probably even use his consumables, and that was a really good move that could probably win the game for MVPs, but we'll see. Once again, Milfs, Mullets and Monster Trucks, from what I can see, are trying to do the same thing they did in the first round. They're actually going for the DPS, but right now Cubro is throwing some good guards actually. DPS on MVP's side are not taking nearly as much damage as Triple MT would want, and looks like MVPs might be ready, but wait a second, Igor is getting low. Situation from the first round might be repeating itself, but wait a second. Tyron Mafu, that's exactly what I've been talking about just a few minutes ago, that the healer on Triple MTs has used all of his cooldowns in that switch that MVPs perfectly engineered a little while ago, and there we go. MVPs place a good hard stun on the rest of Tyron Mofo's teammates, and just do a hard switch, and there we go. Healer is down, and this round goes in favor of MVPs. So they have their chance, actually. They have a good shot at winning that game. Maybe they repeat, if they stick to the same tactic, like trying to burst down the healer, force him on the defensive, force him to use his consumables, use the fact that Triple MT's tank is so squishy to their advantage and a little bit slow on switching these guards. They can do it, we'll see. Just a couple of seconds before this round starts, and let's find out who will be the winner of this game. Once again, Triple MT are just sticking to that early predation, early engage. Last round it just didn't work in their favor, but from what we've seen from the previous games, they've been doing actually quite fine. Look at that, Igor goes in, CC's the healer, trying to make him break early, and it looks like it has worked, because you know, healer on Triple MT side just doesn't have the leisure of staying CC'd and watching his teammates lose HP. All of them are really squishy, 2 light armored characters, 1 medium armored Death Marauder, but as much as Marauders would like to believe they're really tanky, it's really not the case, and once they lose too much HP, they will pass the point of no return. Look at that, actually, for this third round, it looks like Triple MTs are going back to their initial strategy of bursting the tank, I feel. At the same time, MVPs are trying to kill the healer, and healer is already forced on the defensive for Triple MTs, but at the same time, just look at that, getting tank tunneled again. MVPs, first 2 rounds, Triple MTs were going for the DPS, and this time, again, they're going for that Vanguard, and Vanguards are really vulnerable, especially to the amount of, you know, force attacks Triple MTs have. Not a lot of defensive cooldowns here, might just be going down. Look at that, he's really low. Nihilus is trying his best, but there is just nothing he can use. It looks like no back to infusion, no instant heals, just using hammer shot, and that is really not the best heal he can dish out when his target has been focused by 3 hard hitters, and yeah, results in Cubro going down, unfortunately, and MVP's probably losing this round. Well, I'm saying probably, but it's 4-2. The rest of MVP's guys will be going down just shortly. It was a much closer game. MVPs seemed like they had the right idea on what to do. Unfortunately, in the third round, I felt like they executed it quite late. They could have, instead of CCing the healer in the beginning, he did not have the guard. They could have all tried to tunnel him and did what they did only much sooner. Like, if you've been watching closely, of course, they did actually force healer to use everything, but it was already too late. It felt like MVPs just took a load a load of damage by the time they were able to do something with that healer of triple MTs. And you know, time is actually a really valuable resource in this game. Some things are better done sooner if you want to win than later. Let's look at the damage here and healing. Obviously, Q-Bro was actually quite useful in this last round. 24k protection, of course, much less protection than Ambient did. So a lot of damage of MVPs actually hit protection, you know. Unlike what triple MTs did, MVPs hit a lot of protection damage, and of course, damage distributed helps alleviate that burst that your team might be taking, of course making it kind of easier for the healer to keep himself and his team alive. So that is good, you know, good job done by Ambient here. Overall damage actually not that much higher, I'm surprised to see. It's good job done by Igar and Brick on MVP side, but still it wasn't exactly enough. It wasn't hitting the point. That damage, you know, hit the guard, wasn't on time. In the beginning the healer was open, but they chose a different target, and maybe they could have reevaluated. And of course the healing difference is quite obvious, but you know, triple MTs, they've been doing a great job at controlling that healer of MVP, so you can't really blame this commando. He had to make a hard choice of what to break and what not to break, and even if he broke while being wide marked, he would still have been CC'd just a little while later, so not surprising. Commandos are really risky healers, and this time it did not exactly pay off. So yeah, that was the fourth match that was played on PTS just a little while ago. We've still got, I think, 3 or even 4 games to cover. I don't know, there is still 1 game against MVPs remaining, and I think about 2 or 3 matches with drama. Unfortunately today I will not be able to release any more games, so but by the end of the week they will all be covered, so expect that. I hope you guys enjoy them, and I will see you in next video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.